Do you want to turn off that banner that says the live broadcast will begin shortly? I think it's 9 o'clock, right? Are we ready? Good morning. Good morning from KC High, Navalur campus on OMR in Chennai. My name is Mick. I'm the head of school. I am here with Sindhu, deputy head of school, and Malini, head of admissions. And welcome to our virtual open house. This is the second time we've done this. The purpose of today's session is to give a view into KC High for our friends and prospective parents from around the world, and to give you an opportunity to ask questions and to learn about the school. We have a brief presentation and a slide deck. I'll go through some slides with Sindhu and Malini for about 30 minutes, and we can take questions as well. Of course, we can take questions in the chat box. Isn't that right, Preet? Any questions so far? Not yet? Okay. We encourage you. We know we have about 40 or 45 or 50 people registered, so we encourage you to please be interactive, to ask your questions, and we will try to answer them. Right, Sindhu, Malini? Yes. So I suppose we might as well get started. It's 9:02. After the presentation and the Q&A, we will do a virtual tour of this campus and of our Ranjit Road campus in Kottapuram, where we have a pre-primary program. And then we will have some breakout rooms where you can ask more focused questions about particular programs, such as the IB Diploma program, the Cambridge IGCSE program, the middle school, the primary or pre-primary programs, or about the admissions process. So let's get the slide deck started, Preet. We'll start by telling you that KC High is a happy and joyful place, and it's very much a happy school by design. We've spent a lot of time thinking about what works best for children. The name KC comes from Kids Central, so we're very much a kid-centric school, and we realize that children learn best when they feel that they're in a safe and supported environment where they can be themselves, where they can have fun, where they can express themselves. And therefore, we have designed a joyful, happy, fun learning environment. We are led by our board of advisors, which includes many of the best educators from around India and business leaders from within Chennai. So you see there that our founder, Vali Subbiah, she came back from the United States in 1999 and founded KC High with the idea that we should have an active learning environment where kids are learning through experience rather than sitting and listening to the teacher talk. She assembled this board of advisors, which have been guiding us for the past 22 years. So the two basic principles upon which KC is based are, first and foremost, we should have a quality education for each and every child. and an integral part of that quality education is to develop not only the child's academics, but the child's social consciousness, personality, values and principles, attitudes and behaviors, etc., so that our graduates will have a positive impact on the world that they move into, the world that they live in now. Yes, Preet? So you can see there our vision and our motto and our definition of learning as well. You can see that by our mission, we are providing a joyful and challenging learning environment, and that we are very much a learning organization. What that means is that, yes, we are professionals in learning. We are professionals who understand the science of learning, but we are also an organization that is constantly learning itself, constantly improving, trying out new things, experimenting, and learning from our mistakes. There you see the management team here at the Olympia Panache campus. Our academic coordinators are there. And at the next slide, you'll see our academic team at the Ranjit Road campus together with Melanie, our head of academic administration and admissions. So here's a little bit about the story of the school. Sindhu, who's been with us from the beginning. She doesn't want you to know that, but she's been here from the beginning. You want to say anything about the history of the school?
So Casey initially started off as an after-school program, very in a little home, and we continued to function out of different homes until we moved to this beautiful campus 2 years ago. So what started off as an after-school program slowly grew into a very strong pre-primary program, and hence we continue to have the Ranjit Road school campus, which exclusively runs 5 pre-primary programs, and then of course as the years went on, parents came back to Vali and asked her if she would add a grade every year, and that's how we've grown organically. Last year we saw our first group of graduates pass out of KC High. They are in very well-established universities all over the world, and India, of course, doing very well for themselves. So we're very, very proud how the school has grown, how the community has grown, how parents have trusted our program and supported us throughout this journey.
Thank you, Sindhu. Yes, I think one really important point that you made there is that it has been a partnership with parents that has built the school. As Sindhu pointed out, it was the parents that kept asking for more grade levels, for more programs, to keep the school going, and especially to build the school right through pre-kindergarten to grade 12. Do you agree, Melanie?
That's right.
Okay, good. Next slide, please. So in the next several slides, you're going to get a viewpoint of our academic programs. And I think one thing to keep in mind is that our basic philosophy about classroom instruction is active learning. So you're going to see, as we go through the different subjects and the different programs, that in the classroom, we believe that children learn through experiences, not by sitting still and listening to a teacher. There are times, of course, when teachers do need to explain concepts, and teachers are very skilled in this area, in behavior management, in their subjects, but for the most part, our classes usually are full of activities and well-designed lessons that encourage children to learn for themselves, to explore, to develop their curiosity, and to come to conclusions by themselves, oftentimes through collaboration with their classmates. So as you see the pictures there, you can see in the pre-primary program, some bowling, some fixing of food, some games, some puzzles, etc. When we get to grades 1, 2, 3, actually from the upper kindergarten, we're looking at Cambridge. So we have Cambridge Assessment International Education is our program from grades 1 through 10. So that's divided into 3 sections: the Cambridge Primary, the Cambridge Lower Secondary, and the Cambridge IGCSE program. When we get to grades 11 and 12, we see the IB Diploma program, and we have chosen the IB Diploma program, even though we love the Cambridge program from grades upper kindergarten to grade 10. For grades 11 and 12, we feel that the IB Diploma program is the best pre-university program, and it gives our students the best opportunities to go to top universities around the world. Assess those as well, so we do a lot of differentiated assessment. You can see in grades 9 and 10, we have a lot of subjects to choose from. Our subject choice list keeps growing every year. We are now teaching more than 20 subjects in the IGCSE. We teach design technology, art and design. We have a very vibrant arts program that we're very proud of. We try to give every student the opportunity to choose the subjects that she or he feels are most interesting and most relevant to the particular learner. So lots of choice right through the program. We have some electives in the middle school, which have been very popular as well, and a lot of emphasis on creativity and the creative subjects. As you can see, I've already talked a little bit about those subjects. You can see in the creative and professional area, we're teaching art and design, business studies, computer science. Computer science becomes more and more popular every year, as does design and technology. We're doing drama, we're doing music, economics, geography, global perspectives. Global perspectives, another course that's really taking off and doing well. And you can see the languages that we teach as well: French, Hindi, Spanish, Tamil. In the IB, again, we have lots of choice. These are grades 11 and 12, and particularly in Group 3, Individuals and Societies, you can see we have many choices, including economics, psychology, business management, history, geography, environmental systems and societies, and did I say psychology? It's in there as well. Now we're in our blended learning program for grades pre-primary through grade 8. So for the past 11 months, including the months of June and July, our students have been learning at home because of the COVID pandemic, except in the last couple of months, in January and February, we've had students from grades 9, 10, 11, and 12 returning to school 3 days a week. Our blended learning program is a very well-designed mixture of online and offline activities, and also synchronous, which means the children all together with the teacher, and asynchronous, which means that the children can do it in their own time. So the teachers are designing a lot of activities for the children to continue to learn at home, including a lot of things that are not online. Many of our parents are concerned about too much screen time, so we've been very careful about designing these blended learning programs so that children do a lot of activities in the kitchen, in the living room, fitness activities, art activities, all kinds of things that are not on the screen. There you see some examples of the blended learning programs. You can see children learning about flora and fauna, about invertebrates, about chordates, and you can see some happy kids enjoying their lessons, including some that have dressed up for their debates, some that are making toy animals and masks and dressing up as cows and all kinds of stuff like that. You can see how happy the kids are with the blended learning program. Okay, just quickly, as I said, we'll go through these so you can get some pictures of how the subjects are done. There are the sciences. We have lots of activities, lots of experiments, and field trips. Field trips are an important part of the learning program as well. Of course, now we're in the middle of this pandemic, and it's a bit difficult. But as soon as we get the opportunity, we'll be back to safely putting the children onto buses and taking them to science villages, etc. So you can even see mathematics. There's a lot of activity. There's a lot of measurements, scavenger hunts, measuring the area of the playground, etc. In the social sciences, all kinds of activities, including just basic classroom activities such as constructing timelines. In the language arts, again, you can see children in all kinds of group activities, learning about how to write bibliographies, workshops, interacting with authors. We oftentimes have authors come and explain the writing process to our children. They're reciting poetry, etc. And of course, we have a very active information and communications technology program. We're teaching global citizenship and digital citizenship from a very young age. Currently, we're using Google Classrooms and all the Google technologies such as Gmeet and Google Drive. The kids are learning about how to be responsible citizens online, about how to do research, about how to be safe, about how to avoid bad websites and avoid cyberbullying, etc. In the visual arts, we have a painting, drawing, sculpture, visual art program that goes together with filmmaking, drama, music. We have lots of performance arts as well. There's movement. We have a dance studio, and dance has become a very popular subject at our school. As I said earlier, we also have a middle school electives program. Sindhu, do you want to say anything about the middle school electives program?
So typically when kids from grade 6 and 7, they get to choose one elective per semester, and some of them choose to stay on for 2 semesters or more. As you can see, you have from financial literacy to just getting active with the frisbee on the fields. So it's quite varied. And we do have specialists and coaches coming in to do some of these things, like, for example, table tennis. Table tennis has also, over the past couple of years, become very, very popular. So we've put some tables in the corridors where kids can play as well. Yes, and kids really enjoy being part of these electives, not to pick up one or more skills, but also to interact. It gives them an opportunity to interact with students of other grade levels as well.
Yeah, the electives program is extremely popular. Many of the middle school children say the electives are their favorite subject, and sometimes they're academic electives as well. We've been seeing more and more students interested in psychology over the years, so we've been trying to introduce students to some of the ideas in psychology in middle school and in grades 9 and 10 as well, and then we see a growing number of students choosing psychology in grades 11 and 12. I see Preet is giving you a message there. If any of our friends or parents from around the world would like to ask a question, please go ahead and do that. Next slide, Preet. Sports. Do you want to say anything about the sports program, Malini? I know you're having to administer a lot of after-school activities.
Yeah, so we have a lovely soccer field and a lovely basketball court. Our kids are very much interested to play outdoors, and we really encourage children getting into extracurricular activities. We also have an AMPH which doubles up for an indoor badminton court. And there is a program called the after-school, basically compulsory sport program for our primary grade levels, where we are offering, again, soccer, basketball, cricket, gymnastics, chess, karate. So there are a lot of activities that are being offered at the school, and kids are allowed to pick one from those activities and pursue that for a year at least, so that the learning happens.
Thank you, Melanie. Do we have any questions, Preet? Not yet. That's okay. So the next slide, I believe, is about the community projects and the community service program. So CAS is what we call creativity, activities, and service. And our service learning projects, which are very active and very much networked within the community of Chennai and around South India, are a big part of our learning program. So all of our students participate in community service projects, and this leads up to grades 11 and 12, where they have to design their own service projects, and then they have to reflect upon their learning as part of that service project. So you can see some of the projects that they've been working on over the past few years, including agricultural projects, building community libraries, a fitness program, recycling, water conservation, etc. So just to remind everyone what we feel are the key differentiators about KC High. First of all, we're a small community that's very much focused on the children, the learning of children, and creating a positive environment for children to learn. We all know each other, and the parents are partners in the program. So this parent-teacher partnership, including a lot of two-way communication between the school and the parents, is a big part of our program. As I said, the name of the school is Kids Central. That's where it started, and therefore we have a very learner-centered approach. We believe in thematic learning and teaching concepts, not only teaching facts and information, and that we develop lifelong learning habits in our children. We have a very open, welcoming, non-intimidating environment, and that helps children to learn. Right, Sindhu? Okay, we've already talked a little bit about the parent-teacher partnership. Would you like to say something about the ADAs, Sindhu?
So there are many opportunities for parents to interact with students and with teachers. As you can see, we have weekly reports that go out that give parents a little peek into what happens in a classroom. But besides that, every month we try to, we organize something called an ADA. Of course, before COVID, parents would come here to school in person, and kids would organize, everything would be student driven, and students would sort of organize activities they wanted to showcase. They would even design games to play with the parents, so that the parents understood the process of learning and what they have learned, possibly that month, that week, or over the course of the year. The past year, of course, we've had virtual ADAs. where again students have designed lots of interesting and exciting virtual activities for parents to take part in. Besides that, we have lots and lots of events that for example, we have family quiz, we have something called the Winter Fest that usually takes place around December, where there's lots of dance and music. Art programs, of course, the art fair. We have an art fair every year, and we have exhibitions of student work in the primary level. All kids are part of this, and of course in the middle and high schoolers, if they have chosen visual arts as one of their subject choices, their work is exhibited as well. So we have many opportunities for parents to come and see student work, to understand how learning happens, and besides that, of course, to do storytelling, to help out in the library. They come as guest speakers because they are experts in certain fields, and they talk to our children, not just primary but across grade levels. Some of them are part-time coaches. They come and train our kids. So it's a very close-knit community, as they say, KC family.
Great, thanks, Sindhu. I see we have a couple of questions. One of them is, how many kids would be in a class? Do you want to say that? Do you want to answer that, Moni, or shall I?
So for most of our grade levels, presently we have 2 sections. We do not go beyond 25 kids to a section. For some of our lower grade levels, that is grade 1 and 2, we have 3 sections. And for grade 6 also, presently for this academic year, we have 3 sections. But for now, as you see, the student-teacher ratio is 5:1, and our upper cap is 25. For the higher grade levels, I think we're going to restrict ourselves to not more than 20 students to a section. Is that correct, Mr. Mayor?
I would say on average in a class we have between 15 and 20 kids. As Malini has already said, there's a cap of 25. We have several classes that are very small, particularly in the higher grade levels. When we say that the teacher to student ratio is 1:5, what that means is if you count up all the teaching professionals and then you count up all the students, you have a 1:5 ratio. It doesn't mean there's only 5 kids in a class, because we have many professionals, specialists, librarians, counselors, PE teachers, etc., who might not be teaching a class in a particular time slot during the day. So because we have so many professionals of different varieties, that's why we have a 5:1 student to teacher ratio. But typically about 15 to 20 kids in a class, right? Yeah. And no more than 25. And questions about fees or admissions, you can go to the admissions breakout room after we do the school tour, and we're going to take you through the school. Sindhu's going to do that. And after the school tour, we have these different admissions breakout rooms where you can get more specific information about the admissions process or about the fee structure. That would be in the admissions breakout room, right? So it's really important to make the point that no matter what the program, no matter what the facilities, no matter what the philosophy of a school, every parent knows that it's the teachers that make the difference. And we spend a lot of time working with teachers, training teachers, and creating an environment where highly qualified, skilled, caring, passionate facilitators, our teachers, can take chances, can take risks, and can teach the way they know is best. The students, when you ask them, what is it that makes KC High special? Over and over again, we hear the answer, the teachers. The teachers care a lot, they work very hard, they get a lot of professional development, they understand the school's philosophy, and we know that it's the teachers who make the difference at KC High. We try to create an environment where teachers are respected As a matter of fact, every human being is respected by everyone within the community. We make that point with parents all the time. This is a society, a community where teachers are respected and parents are on board with that philosophy. Do you agree, Sindhu? So now you can see a artist's rendition of our new home. We're here, of course, and we have a purpose-designed facility, meaning that our founder, Vali Subaya, worked very closely with a team of architects and designers to build a school which is full of natural light, which is full of natural ventilation, and which is purposefully designed to enhance learning. As you can see, there's a hexagonal structure. The classrooms are not quite round, but they're not rectangular, so that they lend themselves to group work and discussions and the type of learning that we do here. Okay, if we get to our campus reopening safety protocols, of course, we're working now with the local authorities and making sure that the campus is entirely safe. You can see a photograph there of our students socially distanced as much as possible. We are using outdoor spaces. We are not closing the doors. We are making sure that we take advantage of this excellent ventilation at the school. The kids are wearing masks. They're washing their hands frequently. They're maintaining social distance. They've done a fantastic job, to be fair. And it's not easy for teachers and for students to learn in this environment, but we're doing our best. And right now, I can say the students are overjoyed about being able to return to campus 3 days per week and to be able to meet their friends and meet their teachers, to get some opportunities to play sports, to play table tennis, etc. So we're trying our best, touch wood. We've been pretty safe. We've been safe so far. I don't think we've had any problems yet. We're trying to be as careful as we possibly can, and hopefully we will be allowed to return 8th graders and younger students pretty soon, and hopefully this COVID pandemic will recede, and by July we'll be back to school almost as normal. Right, Molly? Okay, so it's now 9:33. I think we had scheduled a little bit of time for some more questions, and I see we're getting some, and it's about Cambridge and IB, right? Okay. So I see we have a few do you look at opening a campus elsewhere in Chennai? No. We have that small campus in Kottapuram for our pre-primary learners, but as of now, we are not planning to open a campus for primary, middle school, high school, anywhere else. We're trying to get, as Valley always says, let's get this school right. Let's make sure that our school is to the level that we want, that we feel absolutely confident with the school that we have now before we start expanding to other parts of the city. So it's not in our immediate plans. Some other questions. What would be the subjects in grade 3? Well, you want to take that, Sindhu, or shall I? Okay. So in grade 3, it's an interesting curriculum. So it's the Cambridge primary curriculum. And the way we have it set up is in grade 3, like the other primary grades, we have homeroom teachers who are with the children all the time, and their main responsibilities are English, which we call language arts, science, social, which are the social sciences, and mathematics. So those are delivered by the homeroom teachers. In addition, the children go to specialist classes, which include physical education, art, movement or dance, music, information and communications technology, life skills, and I'm probably missing a few others. Oh, global perspectives. We're also learning global perspectives. Compulsory sports. I did mention physical education, right? So community service projects. So all of those things are taught by specialists, and one homeroom teacher goes with the class while they're learning from the specialists. So it's a broad curriculum, but the core part of the curriculum is language arts, science, social, and mathematics. Some more questions. Do we have a parent's portal to access the child's credentials and academic reports? Not a portal per se, but we have excellent communication with parents. Melanie?
We use something called the Yokibu platform to communicate with the parents. It's a one-way platform, so the school, whatever the school wants to communicate to the parent community is done through the Yokibu platform. And even the report cards are available, so they are also shared through the Yokibu platform. So that is where you can access the report card. And even as Sindhu was mentioning, we do send out weekly reports about the learning that has happened during the course of the week, and that is also shared through Yokibu.
Thank you, Melanie. I see we have a lot of questions about the difference between Cambridge and IB. I'll get to that in a second. What about the child coming from a state board? So we get that question a lot. It's a very good question. We have children that come to KC from state boards, from CBSE schools, from ICSE schools, from Montessori's, and from schools abroad. For all of them, it depends a lot on the child, the previous experiences, the previous school, etc., how quickly they adjust. However, our children adjust well because we have caring teachers who are paying attention to the individual needs of students, and we have a student support services team that looks out after students who are making the transition. For some students, it takes longer than others, and certainly at the younger ages, it's easier to make a transition to this type of education than it is in the older years. So for young children, students in grades 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, usually within a few weeks, within a month, they're completely settled and completely happy. It does take a little bit of adjustment because they're constantly being called upon, they're constantly being asked for their opinions, they're constantly being asked to work in groups, to work in teams, to be active, to get up, to follow instructions, etc. So any student who's been sitting in rows and columns and listening to teachers talk, which sometimes happens for students coming from state board schools, they have to learn to be active, to be participatory, to interact, to answer the teacher's questions, to make eye contact, etc. That takes a little time, but usually within a few weeks they're fine. Right, Sindhu? Anything you want to add?
And also just to understand the culture of KC High, it takes them a while to open up and ask questions because here we encourage children to ask questions. So we have seen in the past that they hesitate because they're not used to it. And things like research skills. So there is some newness in some areas, but as Mick rightly pointed out, it also depends on the child, some previous skills, the attitude, the aptitude, all of that as well.
Yeah, but I think one thing that's really important is that we have teachers and counselors who are paying a lot of attention.
Yes.
So if a child is having difficulties, we make sure to design an intervention to work with the child and the family to make sure that they can make a smooth transition. Sometimes that happens when children are coming from different countries.
Right.
They might not understand why they've shifted. They might be missing their friends. There might be some situation in the family which has caused them to shift. So we try to make sure that every child is understood and listened to, and that our counseling team is there to help if required, right?
Absolutely, because we're not only talking about academics, we want to ensure that the child is comfortable socially, and emotional well-being is very, very important, and we recognize that, yes.
And I think also, Melanie, that we do an assessment at the time of the admissions process, a virtual visit. Would you like to just say something about that to make sure that every child is socially, emotionally, and academically ready?
So during the course of the admission process, when the school was operational in person, we would allow the child to come and spend a day at KC High so that they could have peer interaction. They could sit enjoy, be a part of the session that is planned for that particular day. The counselor from the Student Support Services team would also have an interaction with the child to better understand the child. And as Mr. Mick said, it's not only about transitioning from another country, it could also be from a school in the city. It could also be a transition from another city to Chennai within India. So there are a lot of aspects that we kind of, focus on to better understand the learner, because as Mr. Mick rightly said, that this is kid-central. So the entire focus is on the child and the child's well-being, whether it's academics, emotional, social. We look into all aspects of that, and it is also for us to better understand what are the areas that the child will require support in. Now, this being an unusual year, we've been doing our admissions virtually, and we do plan a session where the counselor, depending on the grade level that you're applying for, interacts with the child along with the coordinator to better understand the learner. So it is really, really important for us at KC High to know the child and to be able to help the child transition smoothly and grow at KC High.
Thank you, Melanie. I'm going to say a few words about the difference between the Cambridge curriculum and the IB curriculum, particularly at the primary level. They are similar. They're both international, well-recognized boards or programs. In Cambridge, we're very, very happy with the structure that Cambridge provides in the primary program, the lower secondary program, and in IGCSE. It's a little bit more familiar to us in India. They do have checkpoints. There are exams at the end of grade 10, and then it is common for there to be a portion or a syllabus and for it to be very clear exactly what we're trying to learn in those grade levels. In the IB program, in the primary years, there's a little bit more emphasis on open-minded inquiry and allowing schools to design their own curriculum, and also on transdisciplinary projects. We like mathematics, science, social sciences, and language arts. Those kind of structures are things that we are familiar with, that our teachers are familiar with, that our parents are familiar with, and Cambridge is a better fit for our school community in grades 1 through 10. In grades 11 and 12, we do think that the IB diploma program is the gold star pre-university program, so we switch from Cambridge to the IB between grades 10 and 11. We also do a lot of work with our students in grades 9 and 10 as they are learning to prepare for the Cambridge exams at the end of grade 10. We are also teaching them about academic writing, about research skills, about communication skills, and all the things they will need to be successful in grades 11 and 12 and at university. Right, Sindhu? Is that enough? Okay, thank you very much. We'll get on to the school tour now. Thanks for your attention and your excellent questions. Sindhu will guide the school tour. I think we have a camera ready. And in the meantime, we will continue to answer your questions. And in about 40 minutes time, I think at about 10:20, we will break into our rooms so that you can ask particular questions for those programs or for the admissions team, right? Thanks very much for your attention, and welcome to KC High.
KC High is exciting. KC is fun. KC High is social. Hi, friend.
Unique.
Inspiring.
Sporty.
Caring.
Casey is bright. Casey High is beautiful. Casey is epic. Casey is strong. Casey High
Is
bubbly.
friendly.
Independent.
Casey is entertaining.
Casey is cool.
Casey High is holistic. Fantastic. Top class. Growing. Casey High is creative. Casey High is terrific. Casey High is rocking. For me, Casey is wonderful. Casey is super. Casey is best. Casey High is understanding. To me, Casey High is freedom.
Casey High is tech savvy.
Casey is active. Casey is awesome. Casey is nice.
Inclusive, independent, fun, or you know what? To me, Casey High is home.